Welcome to the show. Your ROI dashboard looks clean, revenue is climbing, and still, every new customer may be quietly making you poorer.
Yes, because ROI is often a campaign number, not a business number.
Pipeline is the promise. Cash is the verdict.
Welcome to MATCH B2B Insights. I'm Brenda, and I'm here with Fluman, founder of MATCH B2B and a revenue strategist focused on global B2B growth. Newman, who builds predictable international SDR pipelines, and Mercer, a CFO who thinks in cash flow, unit economics, and risk. Benny, that is a sharp place to start. So what are we missing when a company says, the ROI is positive, the deal is good?
We're missing almost everything that happens before and after the signature. Pre-sale discovery, SDR effort, leadership time, solution design, onboarding, account management, support. The spreadsheet says, we spent $20,000, we got $80,000. Fine. But it doesn't ask how many people touched that deal for 4 months.
And it usually ignores timing. I don't care if the gross margin looks nice in month 12 if you burned cash in months 1 through 6 to earn it. Walk me through the math, not the headline.
When you say leadership time, Benny, grab that specifically for me, because a lot of teams do ignore that.
Right. The CEO joins 3 calls. The VP product joins 2. A senior solutions person builds a custom scope. None of that gets allocated to CAC, so the deal looks efficient. But that customer didn't buy a standard motion. They bought everybody's calendar.
And calendars cost money. People say soft cost, like that makes it imaginary. It's not imaginary when payroll hits.
So ROI is flattering because it isolates the visible spend and hides the operating drag?
Exactly. It's not wrong. It's incomplete. And incomplete numbers are how smart people make expensive decisions.
Also, ROI tends to reward activity that creates deals, not necessarily profitable deals. If marketing generates leads, sales closes them, everyone celebrates. But the real question is, what are we actually buying when we say a deal is good? Revenue, gross profit, fast cash, strategic entry? Those are not the same thing.
I want to stay on that word, good. Dan, if a customer is worth $100,000 in annual revenue, what makes it a bad customer?
If fully loaded acquisition is $45,000, onboarding is another $20,000, support runs hot, and they pay on day 90 instead of day 30, that 100,000 customer can be a financing problem wearing a nice logo. I'm paid to be paranoid.
There's the CFO romance line.
It's true, though. We see this with companies we work with. Strong top-line story, weak customer economics underneath. And the danger is that growth hides it for a while.
So the real topic here is not, are we selling? It's, what actually remains from each customer, and when? Okay, let's build the real CAC, not the polite version, the full stack.
Fine. SDR time. Marketing spend. Sales, salaries, and commissions. Tools. Management oversight. Pre-sale technical work. Contracting time. Onboarding. Implementation. Early support load. If the first 90 days are intense, that belongs in the picture.
And if outbound is part of the motion, add list building, research, sequencing, reply handling, meeting qualification, no-show drag, and all the waste from weak targeting. Outbound is not cheap just because the media line item is low.
Yeah, and this is where people fool themselves. They look at one SDR salary and say cheap channel. But if that SDR books the wrong meetings, sales burns hours, solutions joins too early, and conversion quality drops, the real cost per qualified opportunity climbs fast. This is what happens when you scale outbound without fixing conversion quality.
Grab conversion quality for me. Explain that again.
Sure, if I book 10 meetings and only one is truly in market, the activity looks great. But the business paid for 10 conversations and got one real shot. Quality means role fit, timing, problem urgency, and deal size fit. Without that, outbound creates motion, not margin.
That 10-to-1 ratio is the thing. I don't care that the calendar is full if 9 meetings are expensive theater.
Let's put this into a real example.
A B2B SaaS plus services company selling into enterprise. One customer closes fast, 6 weeks, which sounds fantastic. Contract value, let's say $120,000 annual. Everyone's happy. Then reality shows up. They need custom implementation. The onboarding takes 10 weeks. Support volume is double normal because the buyer was rushed in before expectations were aligned. And procurement pushes payment to day 75.
So on paper, 120,000 revenue. In reality, cash comes late, delivery cost spikes early, and margin compresses before you see $1 of clean contribution. That's not a customer. That's a short-term loan you gave them.
The Day 75 payment term is the part I think listeners will remember. Day 75 means you're funding acquisition, delivery, and service before the customer funds any of it.
Yes, and if you stack 10 of those deals in one quarter, you call it momentum. Your bank account calls it something else.
I don't agree with one part of how finance teams sometimes frame this, though. They make it sound like the customer is the problem. Sometimes the system is the problem. Bad qualification, misscoped onboarding, wrong pricing for service intensity, weak handoff from sales to delivery. The customer exposed the flaw. And I'll push it one step further. If you only blame the customer, you never fix the machine that created the bad economics in the first place.
Fair, but I still want the flaw priced in. Hope is not a line item.
That may be the title of Dan's memoir. So if a deal closes fast, that is not automatically healthy. If it pays late and consumes people, it can actually damage cash flow while looking profitable in the board deck. Now let's push this into go-to-market, because this is where a lot of companies get into trouble. Brian, what breaks first when outbound scales too quickly?
Message discipline, then targeting, then conversion quality. Teams add volume before they validate which segment converts cleanly. So they book more meetings, but with lower fit accounts. Sales cycle gets longer, close rate softens, and suddenly CAC expands while the team says, but activity is up.
Exactly. Scaling amplifies whatever is already broken. If your qualification is weak at 20 meetings a month, it becomes margin destruction at 80. More outbound does not fix bad economics. It just distributes them faster.
Which is why, if unit economics are weak, you stop growth.
I don't agree. Sometimes you fix the system while continuing to grow.
There it is. Okay, real disagreement. Dan, make the hard case.
If each new customer loses money, scaling is just accelerating the damage. I'm not saying shut the company down. I'm saying pause the expansion motion, protect cash, rework the economics, then resume. If conversion drops another 20%, what breaks? Usually the answer is everything.
And my pushback is this: not all growth is equal. You can narrow growth. Keep the segments with healthy payback. Keep the channels with cleaner conversion. Stop the noisy parts, yes, but don't freeze the engine if part of it is working. When we build these systems, the goal is controlled growth while you repair pricing, handoffs, qualification, and service design.
I can accept that, with conditions. Segment by segment, not one blended average that hides the bad business inside the good business.
That blended average point matters. One average CAC can hide 3 different businesses inside one GTM motion.
Yes, and this is where AI becomes useful in a practical way, not as decoration. You can use AI to identify unprofitable customer segments by combining acquisition source, sales cycle length, onboarding load, support intensity, and payment delay. You can analyze cost per segment, not just company-wide CAC. You can detect patterns: which accounts churn early, which industries always delay payment, which lead sources look busy but produce low-margin customers.
That's the important part. Don't tell me AI writes emails. Tell me it found that manufacturing accounts from one outbound sequence pay 30 days later and require 40% more implementation hours. That I can use.
And it can tighten outbound too. If AI shows that one title converts to pipeline but another title converts to revenue, you stop optimizing for meetings and start optimizing for profitable meetings. Big difference.
So AI is not replacing judgment here. It's surfacing the hidden cost patterns humans miss when they're staring at blended dashboards.
Exactly. And one more uncomfortable truth. You do not fix unit economics in a month. This is exactly why companies need a structured 6-month system. Month 1, you diagnose. Then you resegment, fix messaging, tighten qualification, adjust pricing logic, repair handoffs, and watch time to cash. If you rush it, you usually create prettier reporting, not better economics.
I agree with that. 6 months is realistic because behavior has to change, not just the model. Sales has to qualify differently. Delivery has to scope differently. Finance has to track the right things.
All right, let's land this. 3 takeaways. Know your real CAC, fully loaded, including time and service. Track time to cash, not just booked revenue. And segment profitability, because one growth engine can hide multiple economic realities.
If you only measure ROI, you can feel efficient while losing money. That's the trap.
And if you can't answer cost per outcome, time to cash, and downside risk, it's not a decision yet.
That's the tension to leave with. Not how much you sold, but how much actually remains from each customer, and when. If you want to build a more effective GTM system for your company, you can reach out directly. WhatsApp or call Benny Fluman at 052-420-3043. We'll see you next time on Match B2B Insights.